So good afternoon, attendees. It's great to have you here today attending the PMI conference, specifically the youth program. My name is Bishan, and I'm a project specialist skilled in using project management tools and solutions to drive positive business outcomes. Just like some of you, I was once a youth and now deemed a millennial, and next I'll be heading into retirement. I started my career as a developer and then joined Microsoft as a graduate where I undertook certain project management initiatives. And from there on, I grew into a project management solution specialist as a subject matter expert and trusted advisor to customers and organizations across the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. So you may still be embarking on a journey to undertake further studies at university or colleges or start seeking employment. So today's topic is based on what is success, okay? Trying to understand what success is or means in today's modern business world using ancient wisdom or key concepts. Some terms comes from studies I have taken as a student in philosophy, which I have applied in my personal and business areas. I encourage you to listen, digest some of the concepts with an open mind, sit back and concentrate. One of the key words discussed in today's session. For purposes of the presentation, I'll be switching off the video and we'll continue with the presentation. I'll switch it back on towards the end. Okay. So let's look at what success actually means. Typical dictionary definition of success, okay? The accomplishment of an aim or purpose, an achievement of a desired aim, attainment of fame or wealth, okay? The good or bad outcome of an undertaking. And I specifically like that, which is underlined, a bad outcome, because that we can always result to failure, okay? Could failure actually result in success at a later point in time? So if we were to look at the diagram on the right-hand side, what people see, okay? The iceberg illusion, very importantly, we tend to see people's success, but what we don't see, okay, or what people really don't ask or investigate is what were the actions that actually led to that person becoming successful. We don't notice the persistence of the individual, the failure that they've been through to get to the success that they've achieved. What have they sacrificed in terms of social engagements, family life, disappointment? Have they come across it? Discipline, having to, engage 12, 14, 16-hour days, to study, to work, to become successful in that endeavor, and the hard work and dedication they've put through to it. But if we were to look at success from a business world, does it mean, a strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat assessments, what we call SWOT? Is it driving value? Is it aligned to a vision of the organization? Building successful teams or leading successful teams, okay? Achieving certain goals or aligning to the overall strategy, vision, mission, goals, purpose. Could success be something on a personal note of having an apartment, a home, something of material quantity, a motor vehicle, an SUV, a big wedding, a family, or even being financially free? Okay, success could mean a lot of things to each one. So could success be living La Vida Loca in Dubai, okay, on a yacht, overlooking the tallest tower in the world on a man-made marina, okay? Is it an old man who does laundry in what we call Dhobi Ghat in Mumbai, a guy who has worked as a window washer, cleaning some of the tallest residential buildings? Could it be Van Gogh, the painter who became successfully famous after his death? Okay, is success making sure you reach a summit of one of the highest mountains in the world? Is it a worker in, India, Mumbai, that's relaxing like a king in one of the slums with the best view of the city skyline? So you see, success is different to each one of us. So what exactly is success? And let's unpack this from a physiological need, a project need, and a philosophy need. Okay, So if we look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a very old kind of analogy here as well, but we have to look at it from a basic needs, psychological needs, self-fulfillment needs. Okay, what is that from the very bottom? Food, water, warmth, rest, having shelter, the basic securities, social circle, intimate relationships with friends, having a feeling of accomplishment. Okay, and then obviously self-actualization, achieving one's full potential, including creative ideas. And something funny I've seen recently was actually including Wi-Fi and battery there as a must-have. Now, if we look at it from a project perspective, okay, what are the layers in project success? And I can link this up to my personal business and my business opportunities that I drive in terms of project is an initiative, an endeavor that's executed on schedule, on budget, within the agreed scope. And as we move further up the triangle, meeting quality requirements, satisfy quality expectations, all right, meeting the organizational and market needs, and then ideally at the very top, achieving the desired outcomes. And that means you've had product success or project success, and that output relates to creating value, okay, which could be the definition of success as well. From a philosophical perspective, it could be a one's desire for self-realization. Okay, having being in the younger days, we have lots of desires around the lifestyle we want to live, the clothes we wear, the cars we want to drive, the holidays we want to go on with our family and friends, maximum desires. But as you grow from youth to Gen X to Gen Z to millennial, into adulthood, you may find that some of these desires would dissipate and disappear, and you may have fewer desires with the bigger purpose of self-realization as well. So that could be a criteria of success or a definition of success as well. All right. Now, we have to understand something, and this may be a new concept to those attending today, is that it is a very competitive world that we're currently living in. Okay, for the last 18 months plus, we've been living in a pandemic. Because of the pandemic, we've seen a increase in unemployment figures or statistics. Job security is on top of mind for those people who are employed. We're seeing issues like gender-based violence, mental awareness are some key areas of focus that we need to try and address. And when all of this is happening around us, right, how can you become an achiever in a field that you are going into, and one way to try and understand this is to kind of have what we call a powerful intellect. Okay. Now, intelligence is something you may be aware of. Okay, intelligence is that body of knowledge that we study from the books, from the universities, from the schools, etc. Intellect is taking that and converting it to wisdom to prepare ourselves with the challenges of life. So if your intellect is neglected or weak, one would need to compensate by striving hard to make a living. All right. Now, the intellect and mind, what you see highlighted there in the gray box, are two equipments that drive the body to act. Okay. And the intellect is the ability to think freely, logically. It is the faculty to reason and judge without bias, meaning to remain objective. Okay. With a sharp intellect, your thinking becomes clearer, the reasoning precise, and your judgment becomes perfect. If you think about the mind, it's a seat of impulses, the feelings, the emotions, the irrational behavior. Okay. And if we were to take this further now and we look at something, what I've drafted here called, just kind of the past, the present, and the future. Okay. Now, what we have to look at here, and you may not have come across a model of this sort, right? But it's from the books I've studied, and I've kind of built this little model around here. So the first one is you need to look at stress, because if we don't have the desired outcomes in terms of success or we reach failure, that individual will obviously be stressed. And if we define stress stress is, worries of the past, anxiety of the future, our inability to deal to deal with the certain act or action at the present moment. Okay. Now, the lesson on success that we need to look into is that success is an effect. Okay. And if we look at success or the word effect, it's something that belongs to the future. And if we look at, like, in terms of Science 101, we realize that for every effect there's a cause, for every cause there's an effect, right? So we need to understand that because success is an effect and effect belongs to the future, the effect actually is based on a cause, right? So for every cause there's an effect and every effect has a cause. So everyone desires the effect, which is success, without actually going into the cause to try and understand what is it that will make me successful. Okay. So in order to be successful, we need to understand what is right action or the appropriate action. Okay. If actions are proper or perfect, it would lead to success. But if the actions are improper or imperfect, it would ideally lead to failure. All right. Most people now, would crave for the result, in this case, the fruits of the action without planting the seed. Okay, so I hope that is making sense. And what I find here is that individuals normally would work with expectation. And when that expectation is not met, it leads to agitation, anxiety, and stress. Okay, and that's what we're going to be unpacking in the next few slides in terms of, the components of success or what makes up success. And there's three simple components: concentration, consistency, and cooperation. And these three leads to success and productivity, progress and peace. Okay, so let's move on. Excuse me. So if we look at concentration, right, I won't read what's on the slide over here. So what is concentration? Let's just go through the animations here. You would say focus. And if I say what would be focus, you'll probably say concentration. Okay. But let's try and unpack that. While I'm talking, you can have a look at those two cartoon strips over there. So concentration, right? If we look at the 2 points I mentioned earlier, the mind and the intellect. The mind are your thoughts, okay? And it has the tendency to slip and worry over past and become anxious of the future. So the mind is never in the present moment, all right? So the mind becomes agitated when it's slipping into the past or the future, which then we cannot think and concentrate, all right? So in order to put the mind at ease and in the present moment, one needs to develop a strong intellect to focus on the present task or the job at hand. Concentration, therefore, is the technique exercised by the intellect to hold the mind in the present task without allowing it to slip into the future or the present. Okay. And just to unpack it for you, I mean, we're in a pandemic and we're working remotely from our home offices or from, certain coffee shops or wherever the case may be. And it results in a lot of multitasking. The minute we are in a meeting, okay, we get an email, our Outlook opens up, we're reading the emails and we're not focusing or concentrating, or our mind is not present on the meeting. Okay, I may be doing a business case document and I get a phone call coming through, which I answer. So my mind is already taken away from the act of completing my document and focusing now on the telephone call. All right. So that's what we mean. So just to recap that, concentration is a technique exercised by the intellect to hold the mind in the present task without allowing it to slip in the past or present. All right. And I think those two cartoons kind of link to what I just said right now. Now, if we look at the consistency, right? Let's look at consistency. Having an ideal to reach for a goal or purpose, and your action should flow in that direction. The problem here is that the mind strays away to other attractions. So consistency is the act to channelize your action to a certain goal. And this is clearly visible in nature. Taking the example of water flowing in one direction, it has a lot of power. You won't see water flowing, against each other or, against the current or something of that sort. Take, for example, tsunamis. Water will flow in one direction. When there's flooding, it goes in one direction, and it's a force to reckon with. It's powerful. All right. If we use another example like sports, let's use the example of Rafael Nadal and Tiger Woods. Right. Tiger Woods is a sportsman in golf, and Rafael Nadal a sportsman in tennis. Right. So if you know of them and you know of the sports, you'll probably look at this presentation and think something's wrong with those pictures. Okay. Now imagine Tiger Woods being a golf professional, but moving away from his practice of golf and partaking in tennis lessons. Okay. That would probably ruin his golf game. Right, and the same goes for the tennis player Nadal. If he were to focus on going to play golf or football or something of that sort, taking him away from being consistent in his training on tennis, all right, he wouldn't be successful. If we were to look at the last one, cooperation. Cooperation, okay, is to achieve a goal or objective, right? In order for someone or an organization to achieve a goal or objective, one would need a spirit of cooperative endeavor. Okay, I could never tell myself that I have been successful, I alone, as in any of my ventures or objectives, right? You always have to analyze who or what had an impact in you achieving your goal. Okay, so it could be your family, your siblings, your friends, your parents, your manager, your mentors, anything of that sort would have a small impact on you attaining your goal. And then also from a corporation perspective, it's removing selfish motives and working in a selfless manner without seeking the fruits of action or having expectations. As I mentioned early on, if expectations are not met, worries and agitation settle in, which causes stress and strain. So to work in a cooperative endeavor, in a selfless manner, without seeking the fruits of action, okay, or without expectation, should be the way going forward. And in that way, if we were to focus on concentration, consistency, and cooperation, the three C's, to be successful in any, an achiever in any field in this highly competitive world, you would need a powerful intellect to be able to guide the mind, to focus, to concentrate, to have consistency in your routine, perform the right actions, and cooperate with selfish or selfless motives and without expectation. Following these three disciplines, you will be able to command success and productivity, gain progress and peace in any field aligned to the nature of the work that you're going to be undertaking. And just to end off, one of the great gurus, the great Swami Vivekananda said, the great success of true happiness is this. The man or woman who asks for no return, the perfectly unselfish person, is the most successful. All right. So I want to end off there. We only had a 30-minute discussion, but I think I may have went a few minutes over time. If there's any questions or any queries, please feel free to hook up over an email, over a telephone call. I'm happy to have any further discussions with anyone. I am available on LinkedIn as well. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for jumping into this. I really do appreciate it, and look forward to catching up with some of you online on LinkedIn or over email. Take care. Thanks. Bye.